Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Radio FreakJam.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is Monday and it's Meet the Freaks on Radio FreakJam with the one, the only, you know him, you love him, is Phil.
Good evening, people. How are we all out there?
Mate, how are you?
Oh, Ian and Tony, as you're being known tonight.
I'm going to change it. I just saw that. You know, all these graphics I've got to do, it's really hard work. But there you go. Took ages, that did. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Not too bad at all.
Right, before we move on, let's address the elephant in the room. Our support act, as Wispy kindly put it, has kind of come on stage, shat on the stage, and walked off.
And yet isn't the worst support act I've ever had. So, you know.
Probably one of the more famous ones I've had, to be honest.
Yeah. It is what it is, but we've been through it once. We got through it. We've been through it sort of twice. We got through it. We are all here together and we will get through it together because we've got an awesome support network who are, some of you out there in the chat, some of you working in ITUs today, some of you asleep, I assume, and hopefully most of you drunk. But we will get through it together because that's what we do.
Cheers. Cheers to that, man. I can't argue. Look,
there'll be Thursday nights, there'll be quizzes, there'll be Monday nights, there'll be lunchtime sessions.
This is what I was going to say. We're going to continue as is, guys. Programming will commence as usual. We're going to do everything and more if we can to keep us all sane. Again, we're all in tough times. I feel sorry for everyone out there who's freelancing, who's going to struggle to survive through this. All the businesses that are going to struggle to survive through this. It is the right thing we need to be doing now, by all accounts, from what I can gather. They should have done this in lockdown 2. They didn't. Now we're here. We're going to get through it together.
Yeah.
Right?
We'll make the best of what we've got.
And what we got is a lot. When you look at what we've done and look at how we've managed ourselves over the past 9 months, I think, you and I were talking about this earlier, Phil, maybe sort of taking a bit of a look back on the year that has been.
Yeah. Exciting and fun year in lots of ways.
Have you got any highlights? Have you got anything that sticks out in your memory as a highlight?
I've got absolutely loads of them. Wispy doing the song, which name I can never remember, and just Di popping up with the flute.
Focus by Hocus Pocus.
Oh, that was amazing. I just laughed and grinned, and it was just every time you didn't see it go in another turn, it was like, he's done it. He's bloody done it. And yeah, that was great. One of the things I really loved is seeing how people have grown. Because for a lot of us on here, not a lot of us, but some of us on here, we're right at the beginning of getting back into music or playing music properly for the first time in a really long time. And it's watching those people and how they've grown and how they've developed over the period and the confidence they've got on camera. And even by everyone getting used to the cameras. So like Thursday nights, I love seeing how everyone's now used to this, us chatting and doing those sort of things, and then playing to an empty room when none of us were used to that. Well, most of us weren't used to that a year ago. And there were bigger rooms that we were playing to that were empty. So,
well, I mean, you do say that. We do, in general, get many more viewers on Radio FreakJam than we were on a Thursday night live down the pub. We obviously reach further corners of the world. As I said on the Christmas Day, we've had viewers in Argentina, in Tenerife, in Germany, all these different areas which we're reaching.
Northern Ireland.
Is fantastic. Northern Ireland. Don't forget Northern Ireland.
Scarborough.
Although Northern Ireland, there probably have to be custom charges for a Watch This Now, but
yeah,
we'll that.
But yeah, one of the funny things is the lockdown for musicians has effectively levelled the playing field to some extent. In that, if you've got the means to record and to play at home and to put them out there, then you're all but the fame. You're at the same level as anyone else. So if you've got the effort and the will to do it, then you can garner an audience. You can get a bit of a following going from sitting at home in your living room. And it's not what any of us want to do, but it's what the realism's been for the past year now, more or less. And we've got to make the best of those things and see those highlights. I mean,
let's be honest. I mean, we're talking. I think February half term was mentioned looking at getting schools back. I mean, that's less than a month away from a whole year of doing this.
And that's a dream. Well, that's not going to happen. 2 million people have got to be vaccinated a week to get us there. That's the biggest rollout the NHS has ever done, and it's unrealistic to think it's going to happen overnight like that. So realistically, put a few weeks onto that, and it will have been a year. I
think you're right, but it gives us a few more months of this, of collaborations. I think you're right. Some of the creativity that we've seen over the past year has been immense. Some of the collaborations like Jenny and Tim, Jenny and Wispy. There's just been so much going on.
Lockdown one with the whole splendid isolation thing was amazing, and I do look back on it, and because I was only relatively new to meeting you lot, I was a bit like, I'll leave them to do their thing. That's I don't know them well enough to get myself involved and implant myself into it, and I kick myself for it now because I'd love to have been involved with it because it's a bloody brilliant thing. I don't know how
you changed your tact rather quickly because you have got involved in this to the nth degree. You are our longest serving member. You have been on every show. You haven't missed one.
No.
You've interviewed me. You supported Temples and Peck at Bumbles. You have got entrenched in this, and thank you from us because having the extra support and the extra help and extra people to do stuff is really, really useful and really helpful.
Absolutely, and I'm really glad that I did because it's kept me sane over this past year and it's given me something to focus on. So Thursday nights, I now know exactly what I'm doing at 10 p.m. and that's brilliant. I know that I'm going to work on something hopefully different to play each week to try and keep it interesting. And because of having that regular focus to do it, I'm a better player. And God, what a highlight the 2 Templeton Pet gigs were. I mean, it honestly, supporting you guys was absolutely amazing. It felt so good to be back up there on stage. But there was an extra special buzz to it because it was in a room full of these people. And it was just, I wanted some of these people who I'd never met before the Saturday to see me up on stage and play. And I was really excited for that. And I was so honoured to be asked to play. So thank you for asking.
Well, again, props to Josh for that. And, it was him and Oggy that really came up with the idea that Templeton Peck was a bit of a radio FreakJam tribute, if that makes sense. And which is why we dropped in the things like 900 quid. And we done Splendid Isolation. And we done Zombie, like we started the show with. And we fitted all these bits and pieces in that we wanted to take from the show. Andy done Drive, didn't he? And, make it a bit of a thing towards that. And... it's, as you said, it was wonderful to have everyone together. Our Christmas meal, that was nice.
Yeah, that was brilliant. Yeah, and everyone was so well behaved, which seemed super out of character.
Everyone was sober. That was weird.
Yeah. Well, not everyone, Josh.
People are saying they can't hear me properly. I'm going to turn up a bit if that's better. Hopefully that's better. That's strange. But yeah, so it's been good from that point of view, and hopefully we can move on and do a bit more of this to keep ourselves occupied. But look, this is where we're at. Tonight is about you, Phil.
It's about us, isn't it?
Before we let's give everyone a quick hug. We just sort of get in there and just big hug there, guys. That's all for you. And Josh is saying Splendid Isolation version 2 with a bigger lineup. That's a possibility. I was thinking something like Here I Go Again by Whitesnake. That could be a good one to cover. Or We've Got to Get Out of This Place. That could be a good one as well. So many tunes.
I Feel So Lonely by The Place.
Don't Stand So Close to Me.
It's
got to happen. School's out for COVID.
Yeah, good.
See, we've got it covered. That's months worth of collab in there.
Yeah.
So Phil, let's talk about you.
Yeah.
Let's start with music. Why? Where did you start all of this? Why do you play acoustic guitar? When did you get into it? How did you get into it?
So I started playing guitar. Basically, I wanted to play guitar to meet girls. Any guitarist who tells you any different that they started playing guitar for anything than meeting someone to touch their willy is a complete liar, total liar. That is why everyone does it. But I learned pretty quickly that doesn't happen. Actually, you pick it looks so easy. So from the outside, as a sort of 13, 14-year-old, I saw people that I knew playing it, and it looked so easy. I was like, well, it sounds amazing. I've always liked that sort of music. And some of my earliest, I loved Queen. Absolutely loved Queen as a kid. And I mean, they've been with me throughout my whole life. And I wanted to make those noises. And so I convinced my mum, who had had a little bit too much wine, that for my 15th birthday to buy me an electric guitar. And she did. And I started playing it, and I was learning on my dad's old nylon string guitar before that, which was dreadful. And I then went and I bought the Other Side of Oasis book, which was the B-sides of Oasis, which turns out was a great place to start because they're not the most complicated songs in the world. And I was a massive Oasis fan at the time.
It was one of those Master Plan.
Yes. Yeah,
great song.
Absolutely. The first song I loved was Half a World Away.
And Talk Tonight?
Yeah, Talk Tonight's in there. Yeah, and all of that sort of stuff. And as soon as I had a guitar, I was in a band because the only qualifications at school you need to be in a band is to have a guitar. So I started playing at that, and we did like school gigs because we obviously learned our instruments a little bit, but we're still pretty shoddy. And then graduated into college and left that band and joined with a bunch of probably Brit rock would be the genre to go with. And we were a band called Amphoria, who played sort of Terrorvision-y, Three Colours Red, Bush-like stuff. And we were actually really good. And yeah, it's not the most challenging music in the world to play because it's basically bar chords, which is perfect because if you're not that good at guitar, you don't need to solo and it's bar chords. Brilliant. As long as you've got a decent drummer, you're fine.
I hate bar chords, though.
They're really boring, aren't they?
I just struggle with them as well, getting them to sound nice.
See, just put up a load of reverb and some... You use one of them.
You've been doing a wispy this week and digging around in your loft, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been. I was looking for some stuff to try and send something across to you. And
come on, show it. So you had a treasure trove you were showing me beforehand. What have you got there?
If Aslan's on, he'll know it well. This is something we were talking about in the Jamily chat the other day, which is an old, basically multi-effects pedal, but super, super cheap, but does the job really, really well. So that, and then I found my first chorus pedal, which was good for playing Come As You Are and Smells Like Teen Spirit, and nothing else. I didn't really know how to use it.
So a treasure trove of effects there, and you talking about recording and bits and pieces like that. You've been in the studio recently, and we were kind of planning this to be an EP launch, but you've jumped in, and we'll do an EP launch another time. We want to find more about you, but you've got the Joshua.
Yep.
Working on your EP. What can we expect?
So do you know what? I've laid down my bass versions of it, and we've had a bit of a chat around what we think could happen. And I've basically said, I trust you. Go and do it. So there's going to be 4 tracks, which all of you guys should know reasonably well by now because they're all tracks I played regularly on the stream. So there's Each Other, Old Fashioned, and Eve of Greatness. And then I have decided that Jenny was coming in for that day, and I decided it would be foolish to waste the opportunity to... I did a version of her song, Right Time, and sort of rewrote it, changed it up, and I did a version of that, and it seemed silly if she was coming in not to get her to try and record some backing vocals so that she could do that with us. So she's going to be on there as well, which is awesome. Really
fantastic. And again, nice little sort of things like that have come together from this. Well, tell you what, let's play Right Time. You've sent me the demo version of that, haven't you?
Yeah.
So this seems like a good time to play that. So this is Right Time, actually kind of by Jenny, rewritten by Phil and reinterpreted.
Yeah, we've decided that it's now a co-write.
A co-write, fair enough. So this is by Phil and Jenny, but this is only the demo version. This isn't of the EP. This is just a little taster of what's to come, ladies and gentlemen. I hope. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wrong time, wrong place. You don't fit in your space. You feel like you never land on your feet. You're the cat who's lost the cream. Everything seems hard and grey. All of the good times have gone away. Wrong time, wrong place. You don't fit in your own space. Ever feel like you're losing hope? And you want to use the rope. Every door seems to slam shut, and nothing you do will change your luck. Wrong time, wrong place. You don't fit in this space. Don't look back to the past, where you've been. It all flies by so fast. Hold your fists up strong and true. Throw what they might, they won't defeat you. Right time, right place. If it fits your face. Take control of your own. You're the one who sets the tone. Don't be shy, be right, be sure. Storm the stage and take the floor. It's your time, your place. You're in control of your fate. Right time, right place. You're in control. It's your space.
Very cool, sir.
Yeah, I like it. It's a little bit different. And Jenny's someone who's been on such an amazing journey over the past sort of... Well, I've known her since February when I wandered into the jam night at Bumbles. And she was one of the people who... Me, Di, Braid, and I can't remember what his name is, Paul Gleason, sat round and chatted for a couple of hours about music and about people going up there. Each went and took our turns and stuff. And having not known them, having got to know, well, I knew Paul, but I didn't know the other two at all. Got to know him really well from that night. And she's been on such an amazing journey since from being quite shy in a certain respect and quite timid with her talents, to now when you see her on a Thursday night and she's banging through songs and stopping to give her Obolics remix. It's awesome to see that.
You know, I had to give Jen a little bit of a nudge to come and join us. She was a bit unsure, as you said, and but she got it all together and she's come on. And you're right, we have watched her grow massively throughout this. And what I like about this is Jen's song was Wrong Time, Wrong Place, wasn't it? And you basically took the song and kind of subverted the meaning, which, again, we've seen different people doing different covers of everyone else's songs over this time. Andy covered Sean's, for example.
Yeah.
And I think, seeing these different versions come out, it's just been wonderful. It's just shown how creative people can be.
It's lovely hearing different people's takes on things. And from that one, for me, I think that she was trying to tell a story about where she was and what she'd been through. And for me, I wanted to try and just take that natural step further. And I hope I have done that. And I've spoken to her about it a bit. And she seems to be really pleased with what's happened with it, which is why she said it's now co-write. I actually hates it and she doesn't want full credit.
So, what else have you done? You've got this EP coming out. We don't want to sort of ruin that too much and play loads of stuff or songs that feature on that. But, you've done quite a bit musically. What was the first thing you've done musically?
So first thing was a band called Mirage, which we named after because it's another word for an oasis. We were rubbish, and we played. As I said, we did school gigs and things like that, and we never actually got to the actual playing outside of those bits. And then I went into college and met a couple of people. Actually, met them through work, working at Dakota's in Fleet, if anyone remembers, now defunct. And they said they were this Brit rock band, and we went out and started playing shows with better, bigger bands. One of the guys was mates with a band called the Llama Farmers, who you may or may not remember. They released an album on Beggars Banquet, and they were actually all right, but never really did anything. But as a result, we kind of coattailed them around a little bit and used to open for them occasionally. And but mostly it was just doing small little shows in the local area. So places in Camberley, and we played the Railway Inn in Winchester, which is where I met a bunch of people who I'm still friends with today. And yeah, we had some interest from the feeder for Beggars Banquet, whose name now Fierce Panda, who were interested in sticking out an EP. And we were all up for that, thinking this is it, because we had a big break. And it was 98, so it was right at that key point where if you farted and it sounded like guitar music, you're probably going to get an album off of a Fierce Panda release. And the drummer and singer had an argument and sent the contracts back before we could sign them. So,
oh man!
But you know what? I was 16, 17-ish at the time, and I was in no way prepared to handle the life that it would have led. And I wouldn't have gone on to college properly. I wouldn't have gone on to university. I wouldn't have met so many of my friends, and I would have probably got deep into the world of drugs and loose women, and would have been a mess. And we never would have got anywhere with it either. So I'd have put my life back sort of 5 to 10 years to be a sound-alike band of a bunch of other people who are out there. So it's one of those things. At the time, it hurt. But in hindsight, it was the best thing. You know.
So what did you study at college and university?
So I went to University of Glamorgan, which was a fantastic university for social life, and an absolutely fine university for everything else. But it became the University of South Wales, which I gave it its name, whatever. But I did Media and Cultural Studies, which is both Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck Studies, which in the real world had very little real impact in my life. What it did teach me is critical thinking and the fact I could stick with something. And I went from working at a restaurant as a bar manager, doing 60 to 100-hour weeks, to having 10 hours worth of lectures. So if I wasn't going to go to 10 hours worth of lectures after that, then I was a fool to myself to pay to go to it. But I did. I developed a really good social life. I started working on the bar really early doors because 10 hours a week wasn't going to cut it. And I fell back in love with playing music again, and found some people up there and joined various bands in the local area and sort of changed my sound a little bit. So I then started to get into sort of punk and sort of avant-garde-ish, rocky sort of stuff. A bit more challenging. Mostly punk, if I'm honest.
So media and cultural studies, I mean, what did that involve?
So media was a lot of production side of it. So I did sort of film. So we actually went into studio productions. We also did filming outside. So we had to film a short mini film, which had to be 5 minutes long, have a narrative. and be edited. The one thing I was actually really good at was video editing and sound editing in the old analog days, and using early doors. Think Cool Tools, Cool Edit Pro was the kind of standard at that point. So that can give you an idea what it was, if anyone has any idea about that. So
what was it?
Cool Edit Pro. So
Not one I remember.
Yeah, it was. I mean, we go. It's 2000-ish, 2001-ish. That was.
Wispy says, "Did you ever have to edit wedding videos?"
I have edited wedding videos actually. Yeah, and I've got time on my hands, so if you can find them,
there you go. You know, you'll be doing Aslan a favour.
What I actually really got into was I started off as media as my major and culture was my minor, and by the third year I flipped it because cultural studies is just history, but you look at it through a cultural lens. So you look at historical events and how we understand history, which is effectively storytelling, but you look at it through the documents of the time and the media of the time, effectively. So things such as the Shakespeare is an interesting one because he's effectively a storyteller telling the stories that were, or the folk stories of his time, and they've just been passed down and somehow become this high art, when actually at the time they were super low art, and they tell us a lot about what was happening in the world at that point. And I did a lot of it in music as well. So my dissertation was actually on the influence of drugs on music and youth culture from 1969 through to 99. I mean, it was garbage, but the problem was too much of it was based in the last sort of 10 years, and there wasn't enough actual academic work, so it actually wasn't a particularly good dissertation. But I make some bloody good points.
And is this published? Can people go and find this?
Yeah, you can find it in the British Library. It's still there. That's all dissertations are. It's, but yeah, I mean,
if anyone's bored on lockdown, they might. It might even be on the internet now. They might have digitised all of it.
Yeah,
so
probably it's not worth it. It's 10,000 words.
Look, people are needing to sleep at the moment, Phil.
The last bit is, and I would go Tipper Gore in it, so it's fine.
So, musically, you've actually had a track played on Radio 1.
I have indeed, and that's like there's a bet in a pub. I've always been I was quite snippy in my youth about electronic music, and up until, I think, as a lot of us will find, up until The Prodigy, dance music wasn't real music. It's just pressing some buttons, isn't it? Which obviously it's not. There's way more to it than that. But a friend of mine was really into his mid-level rubbish dance. You know, the stuff that isn't actually that interesting, isn't that challenging. And you can press demo on a keyboard, and that sounds like that. That stuff.
Yeah.
And so me and another mate were like, yeah, but that's rubbish. Look at all these bands here who you may not like, but you can't argue they've got more talent and skill in like one of their fingers than you've got, your boy's got in his entire USB stick. And it got hated, and we agreed that I could write and produce a passable dance song that no one would know was by me, and would get some kind of vague interest, and you could play it to people and they go, yeah, that's all right. And so I did, which is the song we're about to play. The lovely thing is, the actual song I wrote was a different song before that, which did get played at a load of kind of hardcore drum and bass parties and things like that, which had loads of quotes from Arrested Development in it, and none of me at all, nothing, I had no instruments played in it whatsoever. It was properly dancey. But my mate went out in London, got hammered, left me a voicemail saying that he was going to go and find some more drink somewhere, and I should come and join him, because him and another mate, we're just going to go off and we're going to have a lash. And I woke up the next morning, was like, that was an hour and a half ago. I've got work. It's not going to happen. And it's definitely not going to happen for them either, because they're on the train, they're going to get home and they're going to go to sleep. But it's a lovely, lovely thought. But I can troll him pretty hard with this. So I made it into a dance track.
Nice. So this is funk, is that right?
Fiunke.
I might have spelt it wrong. And the song's called The Lash.
It's called The Lash. Enjoy.
Well, here it is. The Lash by Phil.
mean, you're not going to believe this, right? We're starting all right in London. Somehow we're not as fish as we could be. We're going to go home, back to mine, and find a flight to somewhere where there's flash. Where there's flash. Where there's flash. We're going to go home, back to mine, and find a flight to somewhere where there's flash. It's somewhere in Europe where there's flash, and we're going to go there. And if we find a good deal, we're just going to go, we're just going to say, fuck it. Book the flight and just take it. I know you're probably not going to be up for it. But you've got the message. Blah, blah, blah. If you get this in time and you're up for it, which, shot the lash. Anyway, just give me a call. I don't know what time will we go in. It could be like in 2 hours time, it could be in 10 hours time, you know, but it won't be in 10 hours time because we'll obviously lashing. Give me a call. But don't bother if you're not going to come on the lash. 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 Porno.
There you go, Fyunke with the lash.
Yeah.
I could see you bopping your head and having a little dance in the background there.
Got a lovely bit of it. The rhythm's really good. Yeah,
do you know what? I do totally agree with you. There is an element of dance music which is, you know, it all works on repetitive beats, and you get that 120 BPM going, which is basically, you know, is set around your heart rate, because a resting heart rate should be about 60 BPM, and you can escalate that through the dancing, and that's where it's all set really. And you just need that good groove on the bass line, and you need that pumping beat, and you've got yourself a good dance track.
Yeah, pretty much. And yeah, if you can be a little bit clever with it and try and... A lot of it's about finding the right samples. Because if you want to go super simple with it, then don't bother putting anything over it. Go Robert Miles with it. But...
Well, I'll tell you what I am going to do now. You've inspired me, Phil. Radio FreakJam dance song contest. Using samples from Radio FreakJam's shows.
Yeah.
Any of the shows available on YouTube. Download, sample the audio, and let's have some Radio FreakJam dance songs. And I'll tell you what, I will pick my favourite, and I will buy you something out of the FreakJam store as a winner.
Yep, let's all get involved with that. I think there's some, there's enough talent in this room to get some real, that we can have some fun with that.
Yeah, so let's do it. We're going to have a Radio FreakJam dance music contest using samples from any Radio FreakJam show, and there will be a prize for the winner. And I will not enter. I will abstain from entering, and I will act as the judge and jury on this and pick my favourite dance track. How about that?
Just Partridge.
Wicked. So let's more about you, Phil. I mean, how did that get on Radio 1?
So, Colin Murray used to have a show back in the old days, back in 2008-ish, 2008 to 2006, 2010-ish. He was from sort of 9 till midnight or something like that. And it was a brilliant show. And Colin is, I worked with him a couple of times at university at various shows and stuff like that. And he's a brilliant bloke. And he's got an incredible music taste. So I was on his show 2 or 3 times. That he had a section of his show which he played at 10 o'clock. He'd play a series of unsigned stuff that was called the Black Hole of Radio 1. So you just uploaded it to a site. You didn't put any credentials or anything like that in, and he just played it. And that got played on there. And then he liked it so much that he played it 2 more times over the coming weeks.
Nice.
But yeah, which was great. And it's a simple, silly song, but there's a bit of a hook to it.
You know, the fact of the matter is, especially in these days we live in, when you look at tracks like "What Does the Fox Say," "Who Let the Dogs Out," you know, there's these tracks that have got that silly, quirky edge, which become novelty tracks. And you know, they may be one-hit wonders, but you can probably live off that for the rest of your life.
I'm pretty sure the Baha Men aren't crying about the fact they're a novelty.
This is it. Royalty checks every week.
Crazy Frog probably overdue a comeback. You know?
No. Let's not encourage that.
Trade-off. We lose COVID, we get Crazy Frog. Which would you prefer?
Can we have more Fiumke?
Oh, we'll get loads more of that, yeah. In the end. And we even did silly things like I wrote music to fade in between from one track onto the other, so it was a continuous, like the whole album works as a piece. A piece of shit, but a piece.
Nice. I mean, Paul Miro does a lot of that. He writes a lot of little segue tracks which sort of intersect with each other, and it works.
Yeah. Full Therapy, Infernal Love with it.
Therapy, Infernal Love. Do they do that on there as well?
The whole album, it is, again, start to finish, there's no gaps.
Just trying to remember. Yeah, I think you're right, aren't you? Yeah, you're the Therapy expert. So
we're the street fan.
Therapy, Frank Turner, 2 bands that you love. What else influences your music?
So Therapy is a band who absolutely taught me to play guitar. So I've been into them since I was 13, 14, like back in Troublegum days. So I would have been 13 when it came out, and I just loved it. I heard Screamager and was like, why is this? What is all this? Like, 'cause even as a kid, I mean, I've been into music since I was super, super young. So the first album I ever bought was DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, Rock the House. I stand by as an absolute banger. Will Smith and Jazzy Jeff. But I then bought Permanent Vacation by Aerosmith.
Right, good album.
So I oddly, as a 6-7-year-old, loved hip hop and metal, or rock metal. They were called metal, but they weren't. And then that never really changed, and I've always had a real thing. I lost my love for hip hop in the 90s when it all got a bit gangstery, and then rediscovered it in sort of 2001, 2002 when rock started to get a little bit stale, and I've discovered people like Jay-Z making amazing albums. Like the Black Album was the best rock album of that year, and Dizzy Rascals, his third album, Maths and Science, Maths and English, was again the best rock album of that year. But it's I've never understood how metal fans and hip hop fans, and like rock fans in general, and hip hop fans, don't see the crossover for it. Because if you look into them, everyone who's in hip hop has massive respect for all of rock music and a real odd encyclopedic love for rock music. But rock fans are a bit snippy about hip hop a lot.
Well, I don't know. I mean, you got look at the crossovers like Rage and Limp Bizkit, Dog Eat Dog, Censor.
Yeah.
You know, there were a lot of bands doing that sort of thing, and admittedly, it did get a lot of stick from true metalheads. But you know, it did have its own following. I mean, bands like Limp Bizkit and Rage Against the Machine, I listened to a hell of a lot of.
Do you know, I still listen to Rage because they're phenomenal. Their second album, Evil Empire, is almost perfect. No one ever listens to it, but it's fucking amazing.
You see, I'd say the first album is the best. Unfortunately, I think with Rage, they did go a little bit one-trick pony. You kind of knew where they were going, you kind of knew what you were going to get, and you kind of knew it was going to be a really weird, fucked-up solo that sounded great.
Yeah. But they still provided us with 3 phenomenal albums, and actually Renegades is amazing as well. Renegades was a great gateway drug for finding out about brilliant music you should be listening to.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can't believe it took me that long to find Minor Threat, but absolutely phenomenal. I love them. And again, Minor Threat are then a gateway drug into more 80s hardcore, Big Black, Black Flag. they're great. And yeah, but back to therapy. I got into and well, in a really formative stage, and at the point in my life where all the best music in the world was going to come out, as far as I was concerned. So, like, yeah, they were a huge influence on me, and one of the reasons I wanted to play guitar. And as soon as I could play guitar, I started to try and learn therapy tracks, which were much harder than the cowboy chord songs I was playing. And then when I finally did get it, I started playing like Andy Cairns because I was playing along to therapy songs. So I thrashed a little shit out of my guitar because that's how I've always done it, but because that was the closest I could get to sounding like that kind of hard, abrasive sound of Andy Cairns, because I didn't have the money to go out and buy the effects and the great amps that he had to do it. I've subsequently learned that I've accidentally had the setup which is almost identical to his, because my amp is almost identical. The one pedal I ever use anymore is one that he has in his rack, and I play a SG because he plays one, and they're really. But,
I don't think I've ever seen you play electric guitar.
Yeah, I haven't on the show, and because I play on my own, and then so I gave up music for 10 years more or less, or 15 years more or less, because I left university and didn't have anyone around here because I moved back from Wales to here, didn't know anyone who played music, didn't know anyone. There was nowhere that put on gigs for someone on their own, and I was very much of the idea that acoustic guitars aren't proper guitars. As I obviously said that, it's going to bug me now. But that whole idea of acoustic guitars aren't proper guitars, so you can't. Acoustic guitars were the domain of a bell end at a party.
Look, I mean, we've all seen that. We've all been there, but it doesn't mean they can't be used as a very effective tool and instrument.
Not at all. They're a brilliant, brilliant thing. And actually, I think the acoustic guitars I love them because they're the great leveler. They allow anyone to play music because they're cheap, and a cheap one can sound amazing. So, I mean, if you look back into music history, the acoustic guitar is an incredibly powerful thing because you didn't have to be rich anymore. You could play music and you could pass it around. A piano you can't pass around. You can't.
Not as easily, no, not unless you've got Wispy's accordion.
Yeah, but again, you can't learn an accordion super easily.
No.
So
I think I've always come back to with acoustic guitar is that if you can play a song on an acoustic guitar and vocals and it sounds great, it's a good song.
Absolutely. And then there are exceptions, which are brilliant, brilliant songs that sound rubbish on an acoustic guitar, but are brilliant songs. But
I haven't found one yet.
The true all-time classics are all amazing on an acoustic guitar. And I mean, again, I didn't know anyone, and then I just sort of veered away from it and met someone. Stopped going to gigs as much because it wasn't really her scene, and just kind of shut that part of myself away, thinking, well, that's done now, and it's I'll play really occasionally in the back bedroom, but yeah, when no one's around. But yeah, it was just one of the things of, well, that's now off. And then I went to see Frank Turner it must have been 2013, because it was after he played the Olympic opening ceremony, and we still went to Reading every single year. And it turns out I'd seen him twice at Reading. He'd been to one of my gigs early doors because I've still got flyers from his first band, Knee Jerk, and I had seen him in Million Dead about 7 or 8 times. Just never put 2 and 2 together as the same bloke. I also saw him playing before, 2 people at Reading. Just never put 2 and 2 together. My mate saw him at the Olympic opening ceremony, said he was phenomenal, and I sat round with my mates in a pub going, guys, I need some more music because I'm listening to the same stuff that I've always listened to. So just give me some bands to listen to. And one of them gave me Frank Turner, which is Richard. Thank you, Richard. And my other friend, Alan, Sean's cousin, gave me Los Campesinos. And they are now 2 of my absolute all-time favourite bands who I just couldn't love more. But I saw him up on stage with an acoustic guitar. He had a band behind him at points. He didn't have points. It was at the O2, which is not a small venue. And he was rocking the place, and it sounded amazing. And I thought, he's a boy from Winchester, and I thought, if he can play the O2 with an acoustic guitar, I can get up in front of people and play my music with an acoustic guitar. Yeah. It's not going to get me to the O2, but I can do some version of that. And so I listened to him, I learned a bunch of his songs, and then I've always written songs. And one thing I always found after I'd seen a Frank gig was I'd always come home and write a song, which wouldn't necessarily sound anything like him, but it would always open something creatively within me to go and do that. And that's where the acoustic comes from, is seeing him on stage at the O2 with an acoustic guitar, completely unapologetic for it, and making it sound amazing.
Fantastic. And I think that's, it's nice to be able to take inspirations, especially from someone who was so entrenched in punk and loud and noise, who's then breaking it down. Dave Matthews do you know Dave Matthews?
Yeah, of the Dave Matthews Band.
Yeah, he's another guy who sort of, does big produced albums, but he will go and tour that album acoustic only.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, Therapy went off a couple of years ago and did, two of the members went off and had babies. So Andy Cairns, the lead singer, didn't want to sit in his laurels and do nothing. So he went and did a acoustic tour. And he reimagined all of their songs on acoustics. And there was fingerpicky bits, and it was great. It was a really interesting way of hearing their songs. And I love that. I'm all about hearing things done in a different way. And as far as I can see, a guitar's a guitar. It doesn't matter if it's an acoustic or an electric. If you want to play it a certain way, play it in that way, see how it sounds, and get the best out of it.
Yeah. And it's about experimenting sometimes to get the sound you're after, or the feel that you're after. And I can't remember his name. He done Lullaby or Loverby was the track.
It is Sean Mullins.
Sean Mullins. He on his album, which was very much acoustic, there were some distorted guitars, but they were actually an acoustic through a distortion pedal. So he was, experimenting with different sounds there, and obviously that's a lot more uncontrolled than a hard-bodied guitar. So it's all about experimenting and trying things.
Wheatus, who are fucking dreadful and a bunch of pricks, they did the same thing. The lead singer, and he had a acoustic which he would distort up, and it sounded awful. But
let's have another song. You choose one. You know what you sent me. What do you want next?
I tell you what. Let's go back to a really early recording of me, which was I did this in between bands, and it's actually the last thing I did in music before just kind of giving it up and hanging up for a while. And it's a song called "Falling." Is it? I can't remember what it's called. Falling. And it was. I played everything other than drums on this.
Awesome. All right, well, this is Phil with a track called Falling, going back to the day.
Step outside. I'm sick of all of the lying. You say you don't trust in me, but you're the one that's in love. And now I've come undone. I see through all of the crying. still sitting here trying. You're the best thing in my life. It's falling away from behind. And then it falls down. I don't know what to do. I can't throw you aside. It's not over. Must be a bump in the ride. Bloods are hollow now. A false economy of time. You're the best thing in my life. It's falling away from behind. And then it flows down.
And that was Phil with Falling. Angsty, man.
Yeah, there's a good emo vibe to it.
Everyone was saying early Green Day and early Offspring, so I think, that's a compliment.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and two bands I absolutely love. So no surprises that they're in there.
There you go. You can't blame people for thinking that. Look, do you want to run on for a bit? We've got a bit more to do. We can talk a bit more. Just while we're sort of taking a quick second. Sorry?
Everyone got to go out tomorrow.
Exactly, yeah. Just while we take a quick second to thanks Delwyn and Andy for buying us some coffees this week. And if you do want to support the show, go to www.buymeacoffee.com/Radio FreakJam, and you can buy me and Tony a coffee, and it does help, guys and girls. It really does.
And if everyone's out there, do it. Because the reason that we're sat here tonight is because of the fact that Ian and Tony give up their living room. They open their homes to us to come into a couple of times a week, and they give up their time and their effort to allow us to have an outlet. So I've put in some money. I need to put in some more, probably next payday. Do it. January's going to be a long, hard month for everyone, but you get a lovely, warm little buzzing feeling when you've done something good. So if you need that in your life, it's a really good way of doing it.
Thank you for your lovely speech there, Phil. So let's talk a bit about the rest of your life. Let's talk about your job. We've heard a bit about this. You work for O2. You manage cell phone stores.
I do. I run a couple of phone stores currently. I've been in mobiles for 338,000 years. Early days were very, very quiet. No, I think I left university. So I went from university. I was at university for 5 years, and a lot of people at university for 5 years, they're called doctors. I'm not. I did my degree in 3, then stayed around as a sabbatical officer for 2. We'll talk about that a bit, because that was interesting. Met a lot of cool people. But I then joined a student mobile company. So there was a company we were going around trying to specifically target students and their mobiles. and they were hugely ambitious and unrealistic, so they folded after a year. But it gave me a really interesting experience of going around managing teams, hiring teams within different patches, and getting students to try and work for you. And I'd learned a lot about management as president of my student union, and then learned a lot more in that period, and then still more, and will always be learning, because life is all about learning. But it turns out the best way of managing people is just don't be a dick and treat them like you would like to be treated. But,
Do you dance with them in the store?
Yeah, all the time. Yeah.
You do, don't you? You like a dance in the shop?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because, we've got evidence of this.
5, 6, 7, 8.
You want to sit again? It's only short. Let's sit again.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah, it's a Charlie Day impression, and it's an excellent impression. But
And thanks to the lovely Sarah, who's actually out working tonight, for supplying with me some fun goods to use along the way.
no, but so as a manager, your job is to try and get people to want to turn up to work and to want to put the graft in so that you don't have to. And genuinely, anything you can do. So you can choose, and right, there's a really, really cheesy video which I was shown early doors and was a little bit like, wankers, which is, it's called the fish theory, which is there's a bunch of fishmongers in Seattle who have decided, basically they were working with normal fishmongers, and decided they were just going to play at work and have some fun. And as a result, they are a really successful fishmonger in this market. And there's a lot of truth in their kind of philosophy of you can choose to go to work and sell whatever you're selling or work in the office you're working in, or you can go there and play and have some fun and do the job you need to do, but have a smile on your face and choose to be a rock star doing whatever you're doing. Being a rock star isn't stepping on stage and playing in front of a stadium of people. It's being a rock star every day to everyone in your life and making sure that everyone has a great experience around you. So I try and take that into work with me, and if I can play the fool for a little bit and make some people laugh and make them smile, then I know our sales are going to be better, and I know they're going to have a good time. And more importantly, I've spent a lot of time training these people and making sure that they're good at their jobs. If they're having fun at work, some other prick isn't getting their effort and their way because they've gone and found a better job somewhere else where someone treats them with respect.
I think that's a brilliant attitude towards it. A good manager is someone who gets stuck in, gets the sleeves rolled up, and makes the job as fun as possible for people.
Yeah, absolutely. And when times are tough, you've got to show your staff that you're there for them and you're going to fight for them.
But hang about 1 second. 5, 6, 7, 8.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Sorry, I just couldn't resist playing that one more time. People are loving it in the chat room. So.
Yeah, I've got, when you're between those four walls, I've got no shame and absolutely no guilt for doing that sort of stuff. It's a laugh. I've got no embarrassment for it whatsoever. I had fun doing it. If you're laughing, I'm doing my job right.
This is what it's about, and we're laughing too. So it's even better. So we love it. We love it. So what else does Phil do? You like to cook?
I do. I really enjoy cooking, and I'm going to try and bring out some videos soon, which I've loosely titled "Cooking with Shame," of easy things that anyone could cook and make something taste delicious, really simply. Because I learned to cook by working in a restaurant and kind of being thrown into the restaurant and into the kitchen and learning on the job with that. And then I went to university, and none of my housemates could cook, so I ended up being the de facto cook for the house, which was cool because we'd all go in and buy food together for those meals, and they'd all do the washing up, which is by far the shittest job of anything cooking wise. And I got to eat and then sit back and relax and get on it. But yeah, I really enjoy cooking. So I've got a video which I'm going to try and put together about the best roast chicken you're ever going to have in your life. And the secret is soak it for 24 hours first in the flavours you want it to taste of.
Whiskey.
Yeah, whiskey can work. But yeah. Do you really want a whiskey chicken?
Why not? Bit of barbecue sauce, bit of bourbon. That could be good. Were you on the Zoom chat with Josh when he was doing his pulled pork.
Yeah. I was shouting instructions.
We were all shouting instructions.
Yeah.
Mustard powder, barbecue sauce. Tony had done it.
Yeah.
Tony done it this morning. We had a can of lager, we had some Coke, we had the mustard powder, we had the garlic, and all the bits and pieces that Josh threw in. It was delectable.
Did you have your paprika?
So I don't know if she put paprika in. I'd have to check that with the chef.
Well, I believe that on the recipe it says paprika 3,000 times, which is me shouting it.
Tony actually took notes, believe it or not. So I think if she followed the notes, there'll be paprika, lots of it in there. So.
Yeah.
Hopefully, you will do us a video for our radio bake jam show that I want to put together as well.
100%. But absolutely, cooking is one of those things that if you've never cooked before, it's really scary because you don't know what you're doing. But cooking's simple. As long as you follow instructions fairly reasonably, especially the first time you're cooking, follow the instructions quite closely. And then once you've done it once, you know what you're doing. And anyone can make something delicious. Like literally, you can make, with a kettle and microwave, you can make something great. If you haven't got one, get yourself a slow cooker, because slow cookers will change your life.
Oh, yes.
You don't need space for them really. They're small. They're smaller than an oven, and you can cook anything, and you can cook some great stuff in a slow cooker.
Oh, yeah, you can do millions of stuff. So come on, let's have another song. What do you fancy?
Let's go for one, which is for the lovely Sean. Again, I covered one of his songs on FreakJam, and he's someone who I'm so proud of and so pleased that he got involved in this little family, Jamily, TM.
Right.
I made that up.
I think you did, yeah.
Yeah. But I'm so pleased because he's someone who hadn't played live music and was toying around with the idea of it. And I was shoving him, like, doing it because I can see how talented he is and how good he is, and wanted him to stick himself out there and do it. And I'm so pleased that he did. And he then started to write his own songs, and he still writes his own songs, which is awesome. But I heard one of his songs and gave it the full Jenny, and regret it. So this is whatever his song's called, Long Gone.
Long Gone. You put Long Gone Silly because it's the your Long Gone Silly version.
Yeah, I've gone over the top on it and put a load of extra stuff in it. But
wicked. Well, as Phil said, this is Sean's song Long Gone, but this is Long Gone Silly, Phil's interpretation of. Enjoy.
When I think back, day one, how it started, we were having fun. It started off so damn fast. When I was with you, I forgot my past. I know some days you didn't want to talk. There were days I thought that you would walk. I know I tried to move on without a fight. Who cares who was right? Because you're long gone but not forgotten. Oh yes, you're long gone but not forgotten. You taught me how to love and what I did wrong. Sure what I'm gonna do, but I know I'm moving on. Always wondered, did you really care? Know that sounds a little unfair, but didn't take much for you to go. Suppose that I will never really know. And I've had many days to collect my thoughts, driving in taxis to airports. And after I get there, I'd have a drink, sit alone and have time to think of your long gone but not forgotten. Oh yes, you're long gone but not forgotten. You taught me how to love and what I did wrong. Not sure what I'm gonna do, but I know I'm moving on. I'm moving on. Every time that I see your face, takes me back to that time and place. And I know it wasn't me wrong. Not sure I'm gonna do, but I know I'm moving on. I'm moving on.
5, 6, 7, 8. But.
Sorry, wrong button. Sorry, it happens.
What a shame.
So that was Long Gone Silly, as you call it, a version of Sean's Long
Yeah,
Gone
but-
But Not Forgotten.
Yes. Although he never can quite decide what the song's called, so.
Sometimes it needs to be fluid. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes you need to be able to adjust things. And shout out to Sean, who's in the chat room there as well. And, I think you'll agree with me. We've seen Sean growing confidence and creativity over this time, just much like Jenny.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, he's really, really come on. And it's really awesome to see. Because I've known him for a long time. And he's a brilliant, brilliant bloke. And it's really nice to see him growing that confidence. And, so I really hope he keeps doing it. And I really want to see a lot more of his stuff. And Sean, message to you directly, stop putting so fucking much pressure on yourself to write songs. They take time. The only versions of ours that you hear are the final edits. So stop worrying so much.
Oh, mate, totally. I mean, the iterations I go through on songs can, I sometimes I record 4 or 5 vocal takes for a demo, and then I'll do another 12 takes before I get a vocal I'm happy with. The recording process takes ages. The writing process, I'll go through and I'll edit words every time I do a vocal take, and I'll get the feel for the song. It's a long process. It doesn't all happen overnight.
With playing now the way it is we don't get the opportunity to go out and test it on the road.
Yeah.
So I would write a song, play it at an open mic or something like that, realise that there were some errors in there, something that were a bit clunky. I'd sing something in front of people and think, it don't feel quite right. Go home, work on it again, take it back a couple of weeks later or to a different open mic, play it. And then after 3 months, you've got the song you think it is. Then you go to start recording it, then you record it, and then you go and play it live again, and it continues to change and develop. And actually, I think when you see most bands, they don't sound like they do on the album. And that's because the recording is a full stop on something, but then their best songs continue to develop over time into something which is a little bit different for the live audience.
Oh, definitely. I mean, when we'd done the Frequency album, we went in with a set of songs which we'd played live, and we gigged them, and we knew we were happy with them. But we got in the studio and we recorded our parts, and then the engineer, who was also acting as a producer, was going like, it needs this, or it needs something, or maybe you should try this. Yeah. And what we ended up doing was then re-recording some of the parts that we'd played before and we knew very well. And then that went on the album, and then we had to relearn the songs to play them live.
Absolutely. So I work with Smaslin a good amount. I did work with Smaslin a good amount pre this, because there is nothing better than getting a fresh set of ears on your kernels of ideas of songs, and having someone who is talented, who is, you respect their opinion, to work with you to make your song better. And I used to love doing that. So he'd come around here, or I'd go around there, and I'd play through, just have an evening, and for that evening we'd play 5 or 6 songs. 2 of them would be mine, and we'd work out the version that he would play with me of mine, and then I'd go, yeah, all right. And his note for me was always slow down, because I play everything too fast, because I played in punk bands and things like that, and that's where I live. But actually, some of my songs have really grown and developed and breathed more because I've slowed down, and it's helped me write better. And if I hadn't have had those notes from him, I wouldn't be writing as good songs as I am, which is going to sound arrogant now. I think I'm a decent writer of songs, and I like the stuff I put out there. Otherwise, I wouldn't put it out.
That's got to be the start of it. If you don't like your own songs, then there's a problem. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure the bloke who wrote Crazy Frog is not overly enamoured with the song, but the paycheck,
he probably liked. But I remember, so a friend of mine went to Leeds University and was working for the student radio, and he got to interview the Blue Tones after one of their gigs, and I think he interviewed them before the gig, and then they said, "Oh, stay around, watch from side stage." They really got on, and then after the gig, like, come and have a few drinks on the bus. And he'd been in the dressing room with him for a bit, went back onto the bus, and the guitarist, who is the lead singer's brother, was listening to the Blue Tones album on the bus, and the band got like super embarrassed, like, "Oh, you must think we're a prick." And the guitarist just went, "Why the fuck wouldn't I want to make music I want to listen to?" And I think that's just a lovely story of, yeah, absolutely. If you don't want to listen to what you've made, why are you doing it?
Totally. It's very, very much that sort of thing. But I mean, I also want to mention that you supported Frank Turner. You actually got a chance to go out and support your hero.
I did, and it was all kind of serendipity and accidental. But I went to 2003's 2 years ago. Do you remember that?
Yeah, that was 2000 and start of 2020, wasn't it? 2 years ago.
It was 2 years. 6 years ago was 2020. So
right, I was six. I lose track.
Because 2020 was 6 consecutive years. No, it was 2019. And I'd only started playing in front of people in November of 2018. And I'd written a few songs because as soon as I start that, I have the need to. And I had secured myself a spot on Camp Turner, which is a little side stage at the festival. It's not one of the main, like, big ones, but it's a campsite stage where they have a full, proper lineup. And when the music ends on the main venue, you can wander into the campsite and you can watch 3 to 5 acts playing a night. And I got one of the 6 secured spots that were definitely happening for that week. And I was like, made up with life to get a festival spot so early on with so little experience. And I'd sent them across some really shitty demos of recording in my kitchen on an iPhone. I was really proud of it. And then I turned up there, and the cat was sort of out of the bag the day before because he was doing a book tour. And he'd announced, or he'd said to someone, whilst the signing was going on afterwards, that he was going to be playing Camp Turner the next night, which was the Thursday night of the festival. So I turned up there, went and met the organisers and the guys who arranged the stage, and they were like, so you've probably heard Frank's playing tomorrow night. I was like, well, playing tonight. Yeah, no, here. What? Yeah. What we want from you, can you leave when you hear his last song? It's going to be 4 simple words, because it always is. Can you literally leg it down here, and we want you to come down and start playing, and just keep on playing until we've built up a bit of a crowd, and then we're going to swap out a couple of people, but we're going to then get you back on again about 2 or 3 songs, and then before he comes on, you're going to play another couple. So you want me to... Yeah, could you open for Frank? Yeah, fucking right, okay, of course, good. Yeah. Absolutely amazing. And the lovely thing is, and I've met him a couple of times, and he's a super, super lovely bloke. And a lot of the guys, because it's a very small stage, and you can look it up on YouTube, and you can see me literally leaning against a post, looking at him from behind, not his arse, going, and just really having a lovely time. And he was so generous with his time. He just played a 90-minute set on the main stage of a festival, come off an hour later, was on a tiny little stage in a campsite because people wanted to see him, and it was so impressive. And he was asking, "Oh, how long can I get?" And everyone was like, "As long as you want, ever." But all he wanted was someone just to say to him, "You've got this many more songs." So I stepped up and did that because I could see that's what he's looking for. So as he stepped off stage, he turned to me and went, "Cheers for letting me play, mate," and he just gave me a massive hug. What are you talking about, you fucking idiot? Letting me play. Oh yeah, that's what's happened here tonight. Phil has let you play on a stage you had nothing to do with. But yeah, he's just a super nice guy. He's one of those people. Again, one of the don't be a dick thing. It's been my mantra for years and years and years, as it well should be. but going to one of his shows, it's one of the things he always says on stage is, rule 1, don't be a dick. Rule 2, if someone falls down in the pit, pick them up. And I think if you live by those 2 rules in life, and the pit being life, you can't really go wrong with it.
Is that your phone plinging like mad?
I think it's people chatting in the...
It is, yes.
Yeah, can you all stop talking in that group?
Apparently it's your lovely lady checking in on a break to tell you that you're smashing it.
Heather, shut up. Lovely.
Bless her, and shout out to her again when she watches this back tomorrow, because she's busy girl at the moment, doing things like looking after us, which is a wonderful thing.
Incredible things. And actually, let's take a couple of seconds just to talk about the amazing people who are far, far better than you or I, who are in ICUs and looking after the sick and the dying and doing an amazing job and putting themselves out in harm's way every single day to make other people's lives better. And I can't tell you how proud I am of her for doing what she's doing, and how proud I am of the other people in this group. Cindy, Sarah, I know you'd play it down that you Die, again, was about to say. Working that pharmacy sounds like fucking hell. I wouldn't want to do it. So you guys are absolute legends, and I am so in awe to be one of your friends. And if you don't consider me a friend, tough luck, we are now.
And I can only echo what my good friend Phil here says. Thank you guys for doing what you're doing, and try and be strong through these times. And we've got your backs as best we can.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've said it before on the Thursdays, Radio FreakJam, if you will. We're here. If you need me at any point, my phone's always on. Send me a message, give me a call. I am no stranger to the darkness and to dealing with hard times. And it goes to everyone, not just those working within those difficult situations. Lockdowns are tough. Look after each other, and if you need it, I'm always here. I can't always give you the answers. I won't necessarily have any of them because I haven't messed up my life enough. But I do know that talking about things and listening, having other people there to listen to you, is hugely, hugely important. So I'm currently in a really good place. And a lot of that is thanks to that there. And the support that you guys have given me over the past 12 months and the people I've met through it. So if there's anything that I can do for any of you, 100% I'm there.
Same applies to all of you. If you need us, reach out. This has become what Radio FreakJam is about. It's no longer just a piece of entertainment to keep us going for a couple of months. It is now the Jamily. It is now a group of people who are reaching out for support. If you need us, just drop us a message, as Phil says. We're here. And I'd like to also offer my support to Josh for his hard work in working with Oggy.
He's actually possibly the biggest hero of all.
What can I say? Let's have another song. Then we'll come back and have a quick sort of summary, and then we'll say goodbye. So the other track you sent me across was Attack.
This one comes hot off the heels of it. So this is a song which I'm actually a little bit proud of. I don't play it very often. It is my foray back into old school, because I was in a political punk band for a while.
You surprised me.
Yeah, I know. What the world needs is more white middle class men talking about politics. Not enough of it, guys. Come on. But I'm a lefty as well, and you'd never have seen that coming.
No, not at all.
This is a song I wrote after the last election, kind of post-Brexit, pre-proper Brexit. And I have the dubious honour of playing it in... I had an opportunity last Christmas to play it in Michael Gove's constituency, and there's no way I could miss that opportunity. So, yeah, this is called Attack.
Attack, over to you, Phil.
Well, I might be a white middle class boy, but that just means that I have a voice. And it would be a crime to waste it. So let's shout out the fascists and the racists. Let's make them ashamed of where they're at. Let's be a thorn in their side. Last thing we'll expect an attack from the inside. Let's use the education they afforded us before they fuck it up for the kids. Let's let them know we've made a pact. It's time to attack. We want our country back. I don't care about the lies they tell me. We want our country back. It's time to attack. We want our country back. I don't care about the lies they tell me. We want our country back. One voice doesn't mean a damn thing, but plenty of us together, we can all sing. Not in my name, we're not playing your game. Give us our country back, motherfuckers. One thing they fear more than war is that there's no money anymore. Let's attack the companies that prop them up, weaponize the money that they left for us. Let them see that they can't go up. Fact! It's time to attack. We want our country back. I don't care about the lies they tell me. We want our country back. It's time to attack. We want our country back. I don't care about the lies they tell me. We want our country back. And they think that we will disappear, but we've got a right to be here. So do the right thing, turn about your surgeries. There's plenty of us in every constituency. It's time to take it back. Take it back. It's time to take it back. Take it back. It's time to take it back. Take it back. It's time to attack. We want our country back. I don't care about the lies they tell me. We want our country back. It's time to attack. We want our country back. I don't care about the lies they tell me. We want our country back.
There you go. That was Attack by Phil there. Yeah, I can see where that came from.
Yeah, the most middle class protest song ever. Surgeries, because I know about the legal system.
I just want to go back to Sarah and sort of thank you. I think I said the same to Sarah for letting us broadcast the rise of your relationship.
We didn't so much let you as just publicly do it, and you guys got on board with it.
And I want to really say it's been lovely to watch, and it's been lovely to see you two actually be able to get together. And Sarah's joined us, and she's become a big part of this as well. And it's just been nice to see. And you two are quiz mastering for us on Saturday, I do believe.
The toughest quiz of the year so far.
That's a trick question. See, I've got that. I know your mark. It's the first one of the year.
Therefore, both the easiest and toughest. I shall be a fair quizmaster.
So if you want to join us, we've got a quiz on Saturday night. The link will be for Zoom in the group on Saturday at some point in time. Look out for that. Lisa will put that out. First quiz of the year back with Phil and Sarah.
It's lots of fun. It really is. And we missed the first few hundred of them. I don't know how many there've been. Because of factors and since we've joined, they're so much fun, and the chat afterwards is brilliant in the never-ending Zoom call.
The never-ending Zoom calls, which have become a bit of a habit these days.
But yeah, it should be a lot of fun. It's the aim is to make it not too taxing, but taxing enough that we can find out who the winner of John Hare and Rob is.
Fantastic.
Now, brothers, you have got a title to defend.
Yes, they won last show, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, so they've got to defend it, because they've taken over my mantle as the last quiz champion.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be easy. It's going to be everything you're looking for, according to Phil. So come and join us on Saturday. That'll be a laugh.
And isn't that what we all need in our lives?
What, something tough and easy?
And fun.
Fun. We need the fun. Not so much the tough these days. I think we've had enough of the tough.
No, yeah, of course, yeah.
What else? So we've got the Jam Night Thursday co-host to be confirmed. I'm still working on this. You know, just bear with me. It was Christmas. I got lazy. I drunk too much. I enjoyed myself with you lot too much. Again, just want to say thank you to everyone who joined us over the Christmas and the New Year's. We had a lot of fun, right?
We did.
Yeah.
No.
No?
Oh, no. Of course we did. Yeah, it was great.
Come on, Phil. I'll pay you for this later.
Yeah, it was amazing. And actually, do you know what? A lot of my highlights of the last year are linked to this. It's linked to the Jamily, and it's linked to Thursday nights, and it's linked to Monday nights watching, getting to know people that bit better. It's the quizzes on a Saturday. It's the never-ending Zoom calls on a Saturday. It's the bullshit we chat during the day. It's but more. It's also like it's again Templeton Peck, amazing. Christmas dinner that wasn't Christmas dinner, amazing.
It's all been fun. The Christmas stuff I was particularly happy with. The night before Christmas, the Jam night before Christmas that Wispy coordinated. That was fun.
Man. Do you know what? It was fun. It was funny, but it was so oddly touching.
Yes.
It choked me up in a way that I didn't expect, and it was beautiful. But it's seeing these people that we've got to know over the past 12 months, and for all the new people, get involved with this because it's magical. It really is. The people who are involved in this little community are special.
It's been a lot of fun. It really has. And the whole Santa thing, you know, the whole Christmas show and the New Year's show, we've just had a lot of fun. And it's just been, you know, people like Smanslin joining us quite late in the day.
Yeah.
You know, what a bloke to have on board. We've done the Meet the Freaks with him. If you didn't check that out, Dr. Simon Maslin, another one of Phil's friends.
He's
amazing.
So well. Like his music, when he comes on and plays, his lovely little mixes of rock and folk. He's such a talented guitarist, and he's such an interesting bloke. And yeah, his Meet the Freaks is amazing, and I don't think he's had a miss so far on the show.
No. One of my favourite things from New Year was one of Wispy's mates who took a picture of him and his wife in front of their TV, and there was Wispy on Radio FreakJam. And they just put Jules Holland's Hootenanny's gone downhill.
Things improved, if I'm honest. There wasn't a single motherfucker playing boogie woogie piano over other people's hits.
Nope. In fact, there wasn't from that point of view. So what's the future, Phil? I mean, obviously, you know, it's a tough question to ask at the moment because of where we're at with life. But, you know, dreams, hopes, plans?
Hopefully people stop messaging in the group and making the big noise. You know what? The future is sadly, instant future is more of the same. It's going to be more of this, and staying in touch via this, and staying inside doing nothing. But the quicker we can do that, the sooner this ends, and we can get back out and start playing shows. And if you're not the people playing, you're the people in the crowd. And everyone who's watching this, all we want to do is be back in a venue watching someone play music, or being the person that plays music. And I'm going to do a whole shitload more of that when we get out of it. So I apologise in advance. Can't stop me. But the key is we need to get through the immediate future to see the bigger future. And soon we are going to be in a place where we can all get together, we can play gigs, we can hug. I think it's going to change jam nights fundamentally and open mics for a while. It'll get back to the wankers who turn up, play the shit a little bit and go home. But I do think there's going to be a lot more of there's going to be a bigger respect for people that play music for a while, that have turned back up to these nights. And there'll be more chatting in between. There'll be less little islands of people and more of a free-for-all of everyone chatting and wanting to get involved with each other. And I think that's a wonderful thing. I also think that there's going to be a lot more collaboration. I think people will... Again, there's a will out there to... I've had lots of chats with other people about stuff that we want to do together, and I'm sure everyone is having these chats. But I think we got to look at the hope of this rather than the sad and downbeat parts of it. Life's not that bad. You know what? You could be one of those people on the ventilator in ICU. You're not. You're here with us. So enjoy it and look on every single part of your life as a bright side. I would give absolutely everything to be sat in this chair talking to Ian rather than being in a hospital having something brief. So let's go out of this with a bunch of positivity and good vibes, and the fact we're all going to look after each other for the next however many long months this is, weeks, days this is, and let's just make the most of what we have and what we are, and let's have some fun with each other.
Totally. Let's have some fun. Let's enjoy the moments we can in life. We've got an unprecedented moment to spend more time with our children, and you've got a young son as well.
I do indeed, Eddie, who is an absolute hero, and I love him so much.
And Eddie, hi from the funny man.
I will show him this, and he will lose his showing this on display.
Look, Phil, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's really nice to sit down and just have a chat with you and, have you to myself, darling.
It's been lovely. Do you know what? It's nice to have the return fixture, and I look forward to the next one when the EP comes out.
Yeah, we're definitely going to do that. When the EP comes out, we'll do a special and we'll do a Monday night and we'll play on the tracks and we'll just push it out there and get it done for you. That'll be good.
I'm going to say it now, but when the EP comes out, and actually, if you want to do this with the FreakJam playlist, the one that Aslan put together, stick it on your phones, play it, put your phones down to mute, go to sleep. It makes sense.
I don't know if you're allowed to do that. Excuse me.
Do that. There is no. Hold on, wait a second. Just checking the rule book.
You got a rule book?
There is nothing in the rule book that says that a dog can't play baseball. It's absolutely fine. Genuinely, you're all allowed to do that as long as it's not silenced on Spotify. It still works. You still get paid. So, FreakJam playlist put together by Aslan. Aslan will type in what it is, do it, and get all these lovely people some money.
And I think you'll be having some more tracks to add to that soon. Hopefully we'll do it at Frequency and hopefully a bit of Templeton Peck as well. And I just want to give a shout out to Christine who's listening. She's a bit low. Her daughter's got COVID and she's got her leg in a slab, basically. So Christine, shout out to you. Stay safe, hun. Hope Sarah's better. And look after yourselves. You know, that's what she gets for ice skating. That's, at her age, she shouldn't be going around ice skating, especially not while drunk. Come on, Christine, sort it out. You should know better by now. But get better soon, hun, and look after yourselves out there. Guys, thank you very much for joining us tonight, especially yourself, Phil. Thank you very much for all the time and effort you've put into the show over these trillion weeks that we've been doing it. And, as Phil said, let's have some fun. I'm going to play out. I did ask Phil for some songs that he'd heard before he searched through his loft and got his back catalogue out. And one of the ones was Templeton Peck with Pass the Bottle. It's a lockdown song. It seems appropriate. It's all about getting on the phone and Zoom and getting drunk with people. So, should we play out with that?
Oh, 100%. It's a banger as well. The musicians on this are fucking amazing.
It's got a good lineup. It has definitely got a good lineup. So this is Templeton Peck featuring Caesar and Max Hunt with Pass the Bottle. We will see you tomorrow for a Zoom lunchtime if you're up for that. I'm probably going to do a Wednesday show as well, providing the kids aren't causing havoc in the background. And if not, we'll see you back Thursday for the jam night. And we're just going to keep going. We're going to have some fun.
Remember, 9:45 to 11:45, 10:45, but idiot hour, the best hour.
Shout out to Sean, just seen that come in. Thank you, Sean, for the coffees there. It really, really is appreciated, and it does help, guys. And yeah, have a good week. We're around all week. Come and find us. We're doing stuff. We'll see you later. This is Templeton Peck featuring Caesar and Max Hunt with Pass the Bottle.
Was busy now stand alone. Curtains twitching from those at home. The wind still whistles through lifeless lights. The hatches close now to fight the fight. And we never thought we'd see this in our time. And we ponder on the future of our kind. March out the sick to the liquor store. Intoxicated behind locked doors. Shout down the cable, bouncing off the walls. Say, can you hear me? Can you hear my call? 'Cause we never thought we'd see this in our time. And we ponder on the future of our kind. Pass the bottle, pass the phone. I don't want to be alone here anymore. 'Cause when the future is unknown, I don't want to be alone here anymore. These empty shelves are a sign of greed. Constellations we didn't heed. Unprecedented, it's a get-out clause. They wash their hands so they can call the hurt. 'Cause we never thought we'd see this in our time. And we ponder on the future of our kind. Pass the bottle, pass the phone. I don't want to be alone here anymore. Pass the bottle, pass the bottle. 'Cause when the future is unknown, I don't want to be alone here anymore. Don't want to be alone. Don't want to be alone. See this in our time. And we ponder on the future of our kind. Pass the bottle, pass the phone. I don't want to be alone here anymore. Pass the bottle, pass the phone. Pass the bottle. 'Cause when the future is unknown, I don't want to be alone here anymore. Sit up, pass the bottle, pass the phone. I don't want to be alone here anymore. Don't want to be alone. Pass the bottle, pass the phone. 'Cause when the future is unknown, I don't want to be alone here anymore. Pass the bottle, pass the bottle, pass the bottle.
5, 6, 7, 8. But